What is the thing with I get to the place and I say, so what about Facebook, bro? It just seems Facebook always gives me that little issue. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere else is straight. What is it with Facebook where Facebook just has that type of thing where they just make life harder on all these other channels and places? But they want you to support them. Yes. I think, man, I read this thing about Zuckerberg and Zuck doing jujitsu, and actually Joe Rogan, I know it was Dana White, had to say, "Yeah, don't mess with Zuck, man. Zuck will kick your butt." And I'm like, Zuck will kick your butt. Interesting. Zuck would probably kick your butt. He probably would. Probably would. And that is the thing. After doing jujitsu, time in martial arts, I've got a martial arts background. I do believe he would. You gotta see, like, people like him, man. They'll do that. They'll do that. As times change, they got to be as aggressive and make some changes to keep up with times, man. I'm telling you, you can't sit around a bunch of dudes that are like beasts like that and then think that you're not gonna be a beast, or you just gonna let them eat your lunch. And Zuck is you could tell he gives those vibes that he's really, really trying to, what is it, become the next best version of himself. Taking the time to learn jujitsu, get his mind right, and become one. This is wild. This is so wild. But after today, you know what we're gonna end up doing? I'm gonna just stream live to like the Facebook channel for Real Estate Lunchbox. I'm not gonna do like any in between stuff once we go live. I mean, once we after today, because I mean the reality of it is, man, bro, uh, it is always better to stream from your channel. So I have no idea if this is if it's actually streaming. Oh, it is. Oh, hey, it is or it isn't. It is what it is, right? But let's talk about Donald Trump. This government reopening and what this actually means.
Trump in the Oval Office about to reopen officially the government. Let's check in.
Well, thank you very much. This is a big day, big night. Very important what has taken place, because we've seen how good government can be and how bad government can be. People don't know what they're doing. For the past 43 days, Democrats in Congress shut down the government of the United States in an attempt to extort American taxpayers for hundreds of billions of dollars for illegal aliens and people that came into our country illegally, from gangs, from prisons, from mental institutions. They wanted to pay them $1.5 trillion, which would have really hurt our healthcare businesses and our recipients at levels never seen before. Today, we're sending a clear message that we will never give in to extortion, because that's what it was. They tried to extort. The Democrats tried to extort our country. In just a moment, I'll sign a bill exactly like we asked Democrats to send us all along, many days ago. This cost the country $1.5 trillion, this little excursion that they took us on. Republicans never wanted a shutdown and voted 15 times for a clean continuation of funding. There's never been a time when one or the other party ever didn't sign a continuation. It's just a continuation, not a big deal. It's a continuation, and we'll talk later. Yet the extremists in the other party insisted on creating the longest government shutdown in American history, and they did it purely for political reasons. I want to thank Speaker Mike Johnson Senate Majority Leader John Thune, as well as House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, Majority Whip Tom Emmer, and numerous other great Republican leaders and congressmen and senators who are here and frankly spent a long time in Washington getting this thing to go away. I also want to thank the broad coalition of Americans that stood with us in this fight to reopen government, including the Teamsters, the American Federation of Government Employees, the Fraternal Order of Police, AMVETS, the National Small Business Association, the American Farm Bureau, the American Trucking Association. These are all incredible patriots. The Airlines for America, the Allied Pilots Association, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, and many others, unions and non-unions. Over the past 7 weeks, the Democrats' shutdown has inflicted massive harm. They caused 20,000 flights to be canceled or delayed. They departed so many times, so late. People were hurt so badly. Nobody's ever seen anything like this one. This was a no-brainer. This was an easy extension. But they didn't want to do it the easy way.
All right. Let's pause there real quick. Do you think that it's okay for your congressman to hold up the paychecks of many Americans in order to take care of the health care situation? I mean, was the healthcare situation so important? I know I think the quote was that they're going to see 3 times, 4 times as much when it comes to the Obamacare onboarding going into next year, and people are starting to see it already. Is it important, though, for us to actually protect the integrity of the system? If the system is flawed and people are covered that shouldn't be covered, is that important? Does that mean anything to anybody? Because I kind of feel like people don't care. Maybe if you haven't worked for the last 45 days, 50 days, I know you care. I mean, you're like, man, just open this thing up. Somebody agree on something, right? But is it important for your leaders to actually change to do that? Do they think it through when it comes to the people that it hurts? Because when they're in power in the White House and Congress meets, Congress may not have a check coming to them because they're part of the government, but we know that they get insider trading and insight on a lot of things that happen, and a lot of them, like Nancy Pelosi, position themselves to be successful off of the knowledge that they know that's not available to the average person. So I got to ask myself, is this something that really benefited the people? Because as you see, they only got this thing set up for, I think, till January, the end of January. After January, are we going to have another fight the beginning of 2026? Because Democrats are already talking about Hakeem Jeffries, I think his name. Hakeem is Jeffries. He's already talking about they're ready to fight again. Is it worth fighting for when people don't? Because we're getting into Thanksgiving, and I said, man, if they made it where there's no SNAP benefits and people can't do anything for Thanksgiving and Christmas during the holiday, they can't get food, they might as well have put a knife in the heart of their of the Democratic Party. I think that just making it 45 days and doing that 45 days put a knife in the heart of the Democratic Party. And I may be wrong. But tell me what you think. Tell me.
Do it the hard way. And they look very bad, the Democrats do. They deprived more than 1 million government workers from their paychecks and cut off food stamp benefits for millions and millions more Americans in need. They caused tens of thousands of federal contractors and small businesses to go unpaid, and the total effect of the damage their antics caused will take weeks and probably months to really calculate accurately, including the serious harm that they did to our economy and to people and to families. So I just want to tell the American people, you should not forget this. When we come up to midterms and other things, don't forget what they've done to our country. I also want to call for a termination to the filibuster so that this can never happen again. If we had the filibuster terminated, this would never happen again. And don't forget, we have another date coming up in the not too distant future. We can never let this happen again. And we should be able to pass great, really great legislation. So I say terminate the filibuster because, by the way, the Democrats will do it immediately if they ever assumed office, which hopefully they won't. Today we had the highest.
And what he forgets is this is a cycle. So just as the right is running it up right now, when it switches over in cycle, the left is going to run it up really bad right now. And I sit back and I think about that because there's still that fight for balance. As long as you're fighting for power, you can't maintain power. Like definitely, unless you completely get rid of the other party. And only the people can actually say, hey, we're not going to be part of that anymore. But it's interesting to me that he's moving for the filibuster to be moved right now. And how will that affect everything if the Democrats take power after? Like, I don't know. You tell me.
Stock market price ever in all of the different markets. We set a record. It's the 48th time in the 9 months that I've been in office that we had this record set. So think of that, 48 times. We had a record set, but today is the highest of them all. We're going to break new grounds. Nobody would have thought. I have with us not only the great political leaders, but the great business leaders of our country. They're standing right behind me and right really alongside of me. And if we would have told them a year ago that we'd be having stock prices this high, none of them, in fact, I just asked them that question, none of them would have believed it.
Man, if you're running the stock plays right now, you're making a bag. I'm telling you, you're doing a bag. And you need to save some of those profits, man. I'm letting mine just roll, just run and add into it when I see fit, when I feel led to do it. But if you are in that space, outside of yesterday, I think the stock, there was a pullback and Bitcoin dropped. Bitcoin dropped big. It dropped from 108 down to 98 right now. I think it's at 96 or 98. I think so. But anybody that's in on a market, if you're riding it right now and you're in a position, I mean, outside of the pullback right now that we've seen heavily in the tech space, especially dealing with AI, I think that AI spot, that AI play is the pullback in AI. I don't really trust a lot of this stuff. To me, it's an opportunity for more friends and more people who have the ability to get in right now. I don't feel like it. They don't. It's not justified when you talk about the pullback. I don't see why they will pull, even if they're trying to sell the thing like it's a bubble, but it's not a bubble. I mean, they haven't even stretched. They don't have the money, so they're loaning money to each other to build each other's portfolio up to do it. But still, it's a bubble. But a lot of people are eating big, man, off of this stock play. If you're in the market and you play heavy, congrats, man.
And that inures to jobs and, very importantly, to 401ks, which have also set a record today, a record high for the people that have 401ks. And also, I want to thank Walmart because they came up with a fantastic study. It was the cost of Thanksgiving coming up and the cost of Thanksgiving from a year ago under Sleepy Joe Biden, and we're 25% lower this year than we were a year ago. And it's a very inclusive report. So I want to thank Walmart. They've done it for many years, but we believe in that, and we believe in that company. I want to also thank the 8 Senate Democrats who finally did the right thing in voting to end this craziness, this madness. But unfortunately, the vast majority of congressional Democrats were happy for millions of Americans to suffer. They really did suffer, too. And the Democrats admitted. They said, well, no, we finally have a point. Even though people have to suffer, we finally have a point. And that
this is all about money. This is about power and money. And when people make this about, when you guys are making this about, okay, you're making this about Trump and you're making it about racism or any of those things, you don't get that this is about power and this is about money. This is nobody over there. None of their hands are clean. There's no such thing as your hands being clean in politics. There's not. There's not. So I hear people complain and they argue about it and they fight Trump. And so many posts I've seen you guys reply to some of my stuff. And what about this? And what about that? They don't care. Okay, listen, they don't care. They care to a certain extent when it comes to getting elected. But outside of that, they don't care. So I continuously say, this is Real Estate Lunchbox. And part of this lunchbox is understanding what's going on in the market. It's not just about real estate. And that's why I think some of the shows that I watch, they suck. Some of your real estate shows really suck. And it sucks because all you do is give a narrow perspective and you call it niche. But the stock market's going ham. AI is causing people to lose their jobs. And people just walk along like everything is good. Yeah, let's talk about the next buyer and the next seller. You can't have buyers and sellers buying houses and selling houses and you don't address the conditions of the market at the same time. And we're in a buyer's market. And in a buyer's market, if somebody was ready to buy a house, and I feel for the ones that were ready to go, that were government employees, and they had to stop in the middle of the transaction because they couldn't close. Nobody could verify their income, and it looks bad to the lender that they're not employed, even though they understand it's a government shutdown. So I feel some of those programs are just lame. They just lame. And it's not your fault. It's just, you're just lame. That's just what it is, Because when we see what's going on here, we can't act like this is not about power and it's not about green. This isn't about color. This isn't about any of that. It's about control. It's about control. Who's going to control what rolls out in the market? Who's going to control it?
Didn't work out too well for them, but they really went out and they could appease the fringe benefits of their far left base, but that didn't work out because now their far left base is angrier than ever before. We actually elected a mayor of New York City who happens to be a communist. When was that going to happen? Remember, I said all the time during my campaign, we will never be a socialist country, and that's right. We turned out to have a communist in New York City, and if you look at his views, those are the views of a communist, not a socialist.
Do you think that being a communist or having a communist side or a socialist side, hey, what's up, Robin? Having a communist side or a socialist side, do you think that's going to affect us when we move on to the midterms? Because this is all posturing for the midterms. Really, it is. I mean, he's saying it back and forth. He's more concerned with the midterms. They did it. I know the Democrats did it because of the midterms. Because I feel for people who are just caught in the middle of this. Some of us are and some aren't. Regardless of your politics, people didn't have food. Some people, we know already, a lot of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And that's why I'm an advocate. I'm a big freaking advocate in developing multiple streams of income coming from your real estate business. So if you're a realtor, if you're an investor, if you are just a buyer and a seller and you're watching this, or however, your job, this is the perfect example of why you cannot depend on this system. We can pull money out of this system. We can make things that improve our lives within this system, but we can't even be dependent on this system. Even when it comes to your streams of income, they can still collapse, but it's a lot harder. I was listening to this conversation with Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate, and it's interesting when the tone, the energy went up. And I don't agree with a lot of stuff that Nick says. I don't agree with a lot of stuff that Andrew says, but the freedom to be able to express it and then to have your whole system shut down, it's weird. We got to look at it. This is weird. This is weird. They shut everything down. their social at one time within a span of 24 to 48 hours, if you don't think that there's some interconnection between these platforms and the uh, the monetary platforms, how do you lose your bank account and then your social media account within 24 to 48 hours? You can't depend on this system. And I hope that this taught a lot of people you can't. You got it. We don't have the luxury of being lazy. We don't. We don't have it. That I think that season of being lazy is done. We ran up the bag 16, 15, 15, 14, all the way up to the last 2 years, a year, last 9 years. That's a full cycle. A lot of real estate agents are going to be hurting. A lot of investors are going to walk away with a ton of money. And I keep saying it because money isn't made when it's great. Real estate isn't exchanged when things are just beautiful. Real estate is exchanged when people need money to do things or to survive, and they really have to cut themselves and sell that property. So to understand the climate of what's going on, to see it, and then for a realtor to say, oh, that's just politics, I'm not going to say or do anything about it, you make yourself look as stupid as you are. You make yourself look as dumb and stupid as you are. Now you say, Leon, how can you say that when you're a Christian and blah, blah, blah? Listen, don't talk all that fable stuff to me. Don't talk. Ignorance and stupidity is always echoed in the Bible. That's why we hear wisdom is the principal thing. Why? It wouldn't say wisdom is the principal thing if there was a bunch of if there wasn't dumb and darkness out there. And dumb and stupidity is the dumbness and stupidity is the essence of darkness. like you just don't know what you know. And I saw it back then in 2008. I'm not going to let this season get away from me. Some of you realtors may do that. Some of you investors may do that. And you may put your head in between your legs and you may tuck and you may run. But I'm not going to. I'm going to eat. I'm going to eat. And the mistakes that I made in the last couple, going back 5 years, 10 years down and not taking advantage of certain things in the market, no problem. Because it's going to bleed even more. And this bleeding is going to happen. It has started happening, and it's going to happen. I believe it's going to escalate. It's going to escalate. It's going to escalate over the next 4 to probably 8 years between AI and do we ever get out of a buyer's market? We can't change the rates. The rates are going to continue, whether they go high or they go lower. It's still going to bleed. It's still going to bleed. So don't blame Trump. Stop blaming him. This shit happened when people turned around and decided in COVID, one, that they were going to be crazy and shut everything down, that they were going to print an insane amount of money, more money than we've ever printed in the history of the United States was printed during COVID. You can combine all of that together. Please use your chat GPT and find out. Don't sit there and act like you know, because you don't know. You don't know. So the solution to these situations, I keep saying, and I'm going to continue to say it to you guys need to get a relationship with God. You need to actually take some time and spend some time quietly, not in your religious sense of going to church. Nobody cares if you go to church. Nobody cares. And I'm about to say some words, but I'm holding back. Nobody cares if you go to church because going to church doesn't mean anything. I'm talking about a legit relationship with him where you hear him speak to you, you see the signs, you see the direction, and you walk in that path and you get understanding. Because I'm of the belief some of you guys are not going to eat. You're going to file bankruptcy, lose a bunch of shit, but I'm going to go up. And you can mark my words, I'm going to go up. I got debt that need to be paid off and shit like that. I got projects that need to be finished, and I got things that need to move on. So this is my warning to the real estate realtor class. Your time is tick-tock ticking. We see it from Zillow. We see it from the Real Estate Commission and what they actually did, which was insane when it came to changing. Hey, what's up, Leon? Hey, who do we blame? I think we blame ourselves. We blame. I don't think there's a blame when it comes to these people, because these people, we voted and nobody knows. How would we even know that this person is going to do what they do? We only know the lies that they give to us and the misleading that we get from them. It's an individual blame that can be placed. You can't blanket the blame to people. We can't. Blaming them is like saying, to me, is like saying, you guys are responsible for my well-being. You blame yourself, but don't kick yourself, because you know right now if you're in a position to weather the next 4, 5, 6, 8 years. You know how far you can go. You know what you need. You know if your job came to you and shut you down right now and said, hey, we're going to close, because that's what happened with Marriott. And I don't know if you guys noticed it. Marriott just, and their franchise partners, Marriott is nothing more than to me, I call them a white labeling company. All they do is just turn around and label hotel franchises they buy. But they put people out in the middle of their stay, letting them know it was an offshoot of Marriott, letting them know that the hotel is closing, and then file bankruptcy within 24 to 48 hours. If we don't learn from this, we're destined to keep repeating the same cycle. And I gotta say it for Black America, not so much for it. I know it's a bunch of white folks, which Black people don't believe, that they're screwed up in their finances as well. You know, I mean, the consumer mentality has consumed a lot of people, So we're all in that mode of I need to find our significance from a lot of this stuff. But our significance doesn't come from a lot of this stuff. But when the system trains you and teaches you that it comes from a lot of this stuff, then you're going to continuously be dependent on the system, one, and then pursue those things also. Yeah. So until we get to that place where we're content and satisfied, whatever financial state we're in as we progress to the next level, and we're intentionally progressing to the next level, then life will actually be a lot better, because our satisfaction doesn't come from the outside, it comes from the inside. And they still don't get it.
So this is no way to run a country. I hope we can all agree that the government should never be shut down again, end the filibuster, terminate the filibuster. It'll never happen again. So with my signature, the federal government will now resume normal operations, and my administration and our partners in Congress will continue our work to lower the cost of living, restore public safety, grow our economy, and make America affordable again for all Americans. Again, costs are way down. Energy is way down. Gasoline is at $2 and...
Relevant to what, I say? Relevant to what? Relevant to what? Like, it's way down, and it is down. I mean, gas is down, but relevant to what? When gas is down, but a lot of other things are high and opportunities are low, really doesn't offset each other. I think it kind of offsets each other, in my opinion. You tell me what you think.
50 cents a gallon versus $4.70 for the Democrats. And we think we're going to hit pretty close to $2 a gallon. That's like a really massive tax cut. It's the equivalent of that. And speaking of tax cuts, our great, big, beautiful bill is giving everybody in our economy, middle income workers, low income, everybody, the biggest tax cut in the history of our country. And it's no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and very importantly, no tax on overtime. You work overtime, there's no tax. That's among the things that add up to the biggest tax cut in history. And one other thing, you hear about rich people with deductions. Well, when you buy your car and you borrow money, you're allowed to now deduct the interest on that loan. So you can take that interest deduction, and what you can take is that interest payment and deduct it for income tax purposes. That's a tremendous tax cut right there. But it all includes fixing the healthcare system that Democrats broke with the disaster known as Obamacare. Obamacare was a disaster from day one. It's done nothing but go up. And if you remember President Barack Hussein Obama, when he came up with this crazy idea, he said everything's going to be great, rates are going to go down, payments are going to go down, everything's going to go down. It went the exact opposite, with the biggest increase of healthcare in any country. It's a disaster.
I think, and this is my opinion, and you guys are here, I guess, to hear my opinion. Really, I got this feeling that a lot of this is more posturing for the next midterm than anything else. And we're caught in the middle of it. Honestly, we are. Because the way that he's running this, and Trump is notorious for being just throwing names out on people, and people are just labeled, yeah, he knows what he's doing. And if you look, it's very amazing that we don't have as many people in his cabinet breaking off and coming out and quitting like they did in that first term. That's why I keep telling people this Trump is freaking dangerous. And he's bad. And I say bad meaning not, when I say dangerous, meaning if you go a second term in and you get everybody to rally around you and you have very few people that's breaking rank, there is something that a lot of people have been promised to stay in line. And we see a lot of the rhinos rallying behind him. That's one reason why people like Nick Florentes and some of these other social media people are just not social media, some of these political guys off of not on mainstream are tripping out. A lot of people think on the mega side it's all like kisses and hugs and all that stuff. Nah, I see them breaking out and splintering because in their mindset, this is the establishment. This is the establishment. It is. So I'm going to do a couple more minutes and we'll move on to something.
Disaster. And I'm calling today for insurance companies not to be paid, but for the money, this massive amount of money, to be paid directly to the people of our country so that they can buy their own health care, which will be far better and far less expensive than the disaster known as Obamacare. And I've had, I think, great support. I've even had Democrat support. So we want the money that would be going to the insurance company, which is hundreds of billions of dollars. You know, their stock prices have gone up by 1,000% in many cases, 1,000% over a short period of time, because our country's stupid.
That's the thing. If you're not in the market, this rally didn't even benefit you. It didn't even benefit. And if we look at it, the average American isn't in the real estate, in the stock market. I think what was the stat I was reading? The average American is not even in the stock market. Man, I gotta do this right here. How many Americans, 1 out of 10, give me the stat, are actually in the stock market, invested? I was looking at this, and it's interesting. 62% of American adults report owning stock or having stock market investments. Okay, so in 1 out of 10 phrasing, 6 out of 10 are actually in the market, and that's good. That's not bad. That's really not bad, because if I'm correct, probably like 2016, around that time, probably before it wasn't this high. But you know, I do attribute this to a lot of the content creators that are out here creating quality stock information, teaching people how to get in, how to invest, like Wall Street Trapper, some of these guys creating that quality stock so you can invest in a stock market, $5 a day, $2, $3 a day. So I think that really ran it up. Okay, but outside of that, what about the other four? What about the other four? Because what I know about people when they're in the market, they get nervous and they start dumping it by the time this happens. This is the worst time to dump it. This is actually the time to get in higher. He says it's high, but it dipped yesterday. So this is the time to get in my personal opinion.
He pays him so much money with this Obamacare scandal. So I want the money to go directly to you, the people. And you go out and you'll buy your own health insurance and you'll negotiate different plans and you'll get much better insurance and you will be an entrepreneur for yourself. So I'm always willing to work with anyone, including the other party.
That is the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Right there, you see. Now, don't get it twisted. You got snakes in every crew. All right? Don't get it twisted. There's snakes in every crew. But the belief, the concept that you become an entrepreneur and you're self-sufficient, That is the thing I've seen that clearly defines and separates the Republicans from the Democrats, the conservatives from more the liberal. And a lot of people don't like it, but in this space right here, they have them beat. Because if you adopt the mentality that you're responsible for yourself and not the government being responsible for you, it triggers within you a certain thinking that will allow you now to look for opportunities around you. I'm not talking about hustle man mentality. I ain't talking about like some of these cats, they hustle and they always in hustling form. I'm talking about building and creating, because that's really what we should be doing, is building and creating. We shouldn't be doing anything else. If we don't create it or build it, we shouldn't really be promoting it. And it's crazy to some people. They disagree. They don't like it. But I see it clearly. A lot of these guys get frustrated because what's coming from them, from Mandani and some of the other ones, is give me what you've created. Now, I agree. It's a bunch of snakes in the billionaire class. I'm not saying, but I'm not going to say that there's no good people. I'm not going to say that there's not people who aren't touched with the infirmities of others that are around them. I'm not saying that. And to assume that, I feel kind of limits your thinking. We hear a lot of general conversation, like billionaires are bad, millionaires are bad. And what it does, it creates the mentality of, oh, I don't want to be that. But when you become it because you made something and it puts you in that class, you start looking at the money very differently. You really do. You really do. When I started buying real estate, I started looking at taxes very differently. I started looking at taxes so much different. The people who never bought a property or never did an investment deal never had to stand up there and put money down and hope and pray they can get this stuff done in the 6 months that they got. They don't know the pressure. They don't know the draw that comes from having to be consistent and not giving up even when things look bad to continue to push forward. They really don't. And that experience separates people. It really does, because when you start doing that and you go through that, and listen, join the Patreon, I'm going to tell you, because I already started dropping hacks that are going to make people money going into this next year. I'm not even going to put it on Real Estate Lunch, but I'll sprinkle a little bit on you. Like, you don't need a license to become a private lender, but you can make anywhere between 25 to 50,000 just being a private lender. Just being a private lender. Just fine, and it's not hard to get started. You don't have to use your money. There's a lot of companies out there. You start an LLC, or I think the ones you have to have an LLC to start, but you broker with them, and then from there, all you're doing is no licensing. You're just really advertising and sending it over to them. And because we're dealing with investment deals, they don't sit on a market like traditional properties. They don't close 30 days like traditional properties. 15 days, 20 days. Get that Patreon.
We will work on something having to do with healthcare. We can do a lot better. We can do great. So much money is involved, and we're willing to pay so much money to the people. So we're going to pay a lot of money to the people. They're going to go out and buy their own healthcare, and we're going to forget this Obamacare madness. So with all of that, I just want to tell you the country has never been in better shape. We went through this short-term disaster with the Democrats because they thought it would be good politically. And it's an honor now to sign this incredible bill and get our country working again. Thank you.
Man, they made it really hard for the Democrats, regardless of whatever these Democrats try to say. You guys made it really hard for them. I don't see how the Democratic Party is going to pivot off of this and explain to their constituents that they're fighting for people that are here illegally to receive health care. Now, I believe you're going to have people that agree with that, oh, yeah, let's go. But are they the people that work in government positions that don't get paid? Are they the people that are in the military? Are they the people that rely on that check? I can't wait till the midterms. I want to see exactly how this is going to roll out. I gotta see it because it is nothing that I see that gave them the advantage. Now, we got to keep in mind too that the baby boomers are getting eclipsed by this generation as far as in being the largest generation. Baby boomers, they're the ones that are very much invested in the government when it comes to treasuries, when it comes to retirement from the government, from the military, things like that. So I'm interested to see, because the baby boomer class is going out. These Gen Zers, they're the ones that voted in, not the Gen Zers, the millennials? Yeah, those in that 30, that 25, 30, 35 group. They're well-educated, over-educated, I call it, okay? Underpaid. They're the ones that voted in Mamdani. Mamdani. It is Mamdani. Yeah. They voted him in. So how is that going to, what are we going to see down the line after Trump's term? I'm curious. If you know, let me know what you think is going to happen, because if they all, or a large percentage of them, think that socialism and our social projects are meant to be expanded on the backs of those who actually make more money, it's going to be a scary situation, because no longer will it be a socialist that people are like, wow, is going in as a mayor in the biggest city. Something like that could trigger that in different parts in different cities. What I learned is when people see a recipe for success, they will mimic that recipe, even if it goes against their authenticity. Let's go to the next one. All right. So, yeah, let's go into this one. I want to talk about the next one. I want to roll in. Let's talk about crypto. Let's talk about crypto and real estate. Crypto and real estate. Now, why? Because with all of this happening, and I keep saying this is going to take place when it happens, as it begins to change and maneuver, we're going to see more and more that things like crypto, the blockchain, things like that is going to make it easier for real estate to be transacted. It's going to log the information on a blockchain. It is going to create a level of certainty of who owns the property. And going deeper, it's going to turn around at the same time. You got to be cautious of this. It's going to turn around at the same time and make it easier for people to get into real estate. That's a good thing. We want people to get into real estate easier. We do want that. But we want people to get into real estate who are responsible people getting into real estate. Because, man, when I think just the way that the uncertainty in crypto, man, the uncertainty in crypto, we're certain that it's going to go up based off of it being a limited asset. The question is, when it goes up, how far will it go up? Imagine spending $200,000 in Bitcoin to buy a place, and within 30 days, that $200,000 becomes $300,000. You will kick yourself. I don't think I would actually do it. I would never use Bitcoin to buy a freaking real estate property. To me, it's an advantage to swindle people. That's what I think it is. It's a setup.
Tony Giordano, luxury LA mansion broker turned real estate crypto disruptor. We met 7 years ago, right?
Yes, we did.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
What was the pitch you gave me?
Well, there was just the rise of crypto being used to purchase real estate. And back in early 2018, late 2017, they didn't know where it was going. And so people who were making millions in Bitcoin, wondering if it was always going to keep growing, wanted to park it in something more stable at the time. So they were asking, hey, how do I maybe buy real estate with my profits?
And your answer was a Malibu mansion. And it was like, you had me in Malibu.
Yep. My client was willing to take Bitcoin for the sale of his property, so we marketed it that way, and the rest is history. It just continued to grow, and then now we know where crypto has grown to.
And I remember going out there and standing in Malibu, and I forget the price point of the house, but it was multi-millions. And I'm standing there going, why do we buy it in crypto? Why not just buy it in cash? What is the benefit of buying a house in crypto? But over 7 years, it's blown up. So really simply dumb it down for everybody. Why does anybody want to buy a house in crypto?
Depending on the crypto you use. So if somebody comes to me now and says, I want to buy a house using Bitcoin, my question is why? Why on earth would you trade an asset that's going to go up 20 more times than that house will in the next 20 years? So now you have all of these new private equity firms and people, giving loans, almost like a margin loan against your stock, giving you a loan against your Bitcoin asset so you don't have to get rid of it, and now you can just go buy the house traditionally.
So that's where it's evolved. People aren't buying in Bitcoin. So I was right to think it was dumb to do it then.
Not in Bitcoin, but they're buying it in other cryptos, using crypto or the USDC and recording things on the blockchain now. So it's just, everything's just evolved with it as a form of currency.
But we're now just borrowing against the crypto.
Yep.
And that's getting us mortgages, and we have mortgage companies that.
And if we're borrowing against the crypto, this is my other thing. Depending on the situation, if I borrow against my Bitcoin, do I have to release it? See, if it's not, it's the same thing over again. The issue that we had with Bitcoin previously, buying it in these these exchanges, is you're parking your Bitcoin on the exchange, and these exchanges, which I had the same experience. I had this exact experience. The exchange shut down. And fortunately, I only had, I think, 25, 50 bucks in there. Now, you got to imagine, that was when Bitcoin was 45, 50,000. Bitcoin's 100,000. My $50 is $100. And whoever shut down that exchange, okay, when they shut it down and they did not give the Bitcoin back to the people, they made a 100% profit on my money. They doubled my money. That's the problem. When we start putting Bitcoin into the hands of others in exchange for cash, what happens when they go away? Like, what happens when they quit? Like some of these exchanges that shut down. What happens? We forget about what just happened with Bitcoin. So to me, it's nothing more than another ploy, another financial move to get your money. That's it. Because they know if we get enough people invested, that thing shuts down. And when it shuts down, what is the thing? It shuts down, and then we can go. We'll probably get some liability from the government. They'll probably come and smack our hand and say, hey, you can't be doing stuff like that. That's not a good move. To me, that's when you create issues. This is a deception. It's a deception. It can easily flip on you in a second. You can't trust companies with your Bitcoin. You can't. I keep my Bitcoin in cold storage. I don't even keep it on exchanges. You can't even find my seed phrase anywhere in no paper form. It's metal tucked away somewhere separate from my freaking Bitcoin. And I don't mind telling you, because it ain't in my house. And if you run up in my house, you get what you get and you don't pitch a fit. At the end of the day, this is the same way that the system deceives people or allows these entities to get going. And let me tell you, it's all just like the 50-year mortgage. It's all about the individual. Like I say, we should have the freedom to have a 50-year mortgage. People think I'm crazy with it because somebody may want to use it. And you can't say that. You can preach to them, you can tell them, but at the end of the day, if they want to use it, they want to use it. So you can't keep telling people they can't do stuff. That's not the essence of our country. Our country isn't based upon the us being protected by the consumer. Oh, well, they can't use it. They shouldn't, because this is going to make a bunch of people go broke, because we know already if it's 50 years, this thing with Bitcoin is the same. Using that to buy real estate is the same thing when it comes to a 50-year mortgage. Give people the choice. Let them choose whether they're going to do it or not. I'm going to tell you, you stupid if you do. And I'm going to tell you why you stupid. I'm going to tell you why you stupid. You stupid. You're stupid simply because if you take your Bitcoin out of cold storage and you give it to someone, you're believing that they will actually give it back to you after you've paid that debt, and you're dumb to believe that. You're dumb. You're dumb. And I got BTC. I got several altcoins. I've been stacking. And I'm glad I've been stacking.
Congratulations. Well done.
Because I lost $50 on a freaking exchange. I said, I'll never do that shit again. Never do that. Never do that. But we can't tell people and push people and say, oh, yeah, and keep doing that to people. And we want to make these rules. It is up to us to self-govern ourselves. Stop freaking listening and waiting for the government to do that shit. If anything, we should be sitting back and saying, the stuff you put in our food, no. We need to be able to have the real food, or we need to have more alternatives. And the ones that are alternatives to this, they need to be incentivized to actually make good freaking water. Dasani. I'm talking about Dasani. That water shit. If you drink it, don't drink it, okay? Because the water is shit. It actually has salt in there, and it makes you bloated in inflammation. And we don't talk about that shit. That all water ain't the same. The things that we're supposed to be fighting for, we don't fight for. We fight for Bitcoin to be used for freaking buying real estate. Like, that's the smart ass move. Even if you give it to somebody, like I'm sorry, I'm ranting. I'm going off the chain. Please comment and tell me if you think what I'm saying is off. Because if I'm off the chain, and maybe I'm just the dude in the back in the booth, which I've always been, talking a bunch of shit and telling people don't do this, and people just go do it any damn way. Y'all just gonna do it. 18 years in real estate. I've been in this shit 18 years. I've seen people make tons of money when shit went crazy. I know in 2020, I was closing deals, letting people buy what they want to. You think I'm gonna stop your ass? No. Buy what you want to. You've already made up your mind that it's good for you to be a freaking investor, and you never read a damn book. So I'm like, go do what you want to. Yeah, okay, I'll help you close. I'm just going to give you what I'm going to tell you some, and then you're going to push back, but you're going to do what the hell you want to do anyway. We keep having people believe that when it's good, you buy real estate. No, you buy real estate when the world is shitty and going to chaos. And you don't do stuff like this.
Specialize this. I know you've talked about those before.
And Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac coming out with the crypto-backed mortgages.
What is that going to do for the market?
Well, there's just a lot of people who have a lot of crypto assets, and it has not been traditionally used as a form of verification or asset or collateral for a mortgage. And so I think it's just going to open up the doors where people now can use it to purchase property or get a mortgage for it.
Now, you jumped on this train really early. I know it was 7 years ago, which seems like a lifetime in crypto, but you were really ahead of the curve on it. What made you say, this is the future and I'm going to go all in? Because you travel the country basically telling agents all over how this works, explaining it to them over and over again. What is the blockchain? Why do I use crypto? How do I use it? What sparked your interest?
In 2014, I was speaking at a tech conference on real estate tech and just social media and disruption of technology with real estate. And this guy came up to me thinking because I'm techie, he asked me a question about Bitcoin and blockchain. But the way he asked...
Okay, so I'm gonna jump in here. I want to clearly define between what blockchain does and what this BTC does. I would never use Bitcoin to freaking buy a property, but I would damn well use the blockchain to log in my purchases, the warranty deeds, security deeds. That shit needs to go on the blockchain because people steal people's houses. And it's happened. It is happening in Georgia. People are freaking going in and transferring houses to their name with a quitclaim deed and recording it with and when you go down there and tell them it's not like you didn't do that shit. It takes tons of years to fix it. The criminals are moving faster than the technology. This needs to be adopted so that we can maintain what people's hard-earned homes and assets that they have inherited or they purchased. I'm all for that. Matter of fact, I've got a friend who actually has a loan product for the last 15 years. They've been fighting him on bringing this shit out. Multi-million dollar, billion-dollar strategy. Billion. He said, hey, Lee, I think we're going to turn around and put this thing on on blockchain. That's what we're going to do. How about if we do our records on blockchain and we turn around and take the ledger and we can sell it now on the open? I'm like, shit, that is great. That's it's awesome. That's awesome. Now, I also asked if you do it on the Ethereum blockchain and and you're transferring these assets, and Ethereum is nothing more than another blockchain. That's it. You got the BTC, Bitcoin blockchain. You've got Ethereum. Most of these altcoins run on the Ethereum blockchain. Most of them do. And when they're traded and exchanged, you're now turning around and creating from the gas, from the fees. When it's sitting there, you're creating just money. You're creating more Ethereum. So if I bought an NFT, let's say the NFT, and this is easy, my warranty deed for my property in Atlanta can be in my NFT, I can hold that in an NFT, you know? And while I hold it, I'm making money off of that NFT going up, that warranty deed going up. So now I see appreciation in the asset and appreciation in where it's stored, which is the Ethereum blockchain. Okay? Shit like that, they don't want you to know, bro. I'm gonna tell you, shit like that, that's the fight. Because when you make something like that available to the masses, my grandma and them, her house, y'all inherited it. It doesn't, you'll sell it because you're like, I don't want to deal with the house. How many times I walked into those situations where people didn't want to deal with the shit, you know? And then we ended up giving them a cash offer or buying it and some shit like that. But at the end of the day, would they hold on to that? I think they know that it will cause more people to hold on to their assets, because even if it's staying steady, where it's recorded at, and because it's an NFT sitting on that chain, on that particular crypto chain, Ethereum specifically, that warranty deed is going to make you a shitload of money, especially if you don't want to do nothing to the house and it's sitting somewhere. I'm for that. I'm not for buying no shit with your money, with your I'm not.
I pretended like I knew what he was talking about. I was like, oh, you know, I'm sure someday somebody will be able to buy a house using crypto. And so he walked away, and I went on Google and I searched what is Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and this is 2014. And I was just fascinated by it, and I was fascinated about the fact of how fast the world was embracing it. And then I just started doing research, and then that's when I realized, wait, this isn't going anywhere. This is going to take over the world. So I just started learning it. Before I knew it, I was teaching it, and then that's when the gentleman came up to me and said, hey, I need to park some money in real estate. Do you know anybody who'd be willing to take Bitcoin?
And there you are at the Malibu house selling it.
Yep.
Did that house ever sell in Bitcoin?
That house did not sell in Bitcoin, no. He took it off the market and actually ended up keeping it. He's still the owner.
Okay, so it explodes onto the scene, but then Bitcoin and crypto in general has had waves. You know, you saw this huge run-up. People made millions and millions of dollars. Then it came down pretty hard, but you stayed in the game.
I stayed in the game because look what's happened. Every time it's gone down, it only goes down to a new bottom, and then when it goes back up, it surpasses that bottom, and then it goes down. And then so when you look at it, it's almost like real estate. Yeah, it has its crashes or it has its shifts, but then it ends up going up 10 times more than it went down. And so now you see everything, like look at all the protocol the crypto bills that have been put into law from the president recently. You have people like Mike Saylor, who says that there's no reason it won't be 10 million a coin, you know, one day.
And Mike Saylor is for everybody.
Mike Saylor, he's just a very crypto expert in the game. Like he's just always being interviewed and just
So he's kind of a disruptor in the
understands it.
space as well.
He's a
big followers.
Big followers.
And I noticed that you have big followers on social media as well, and you have for a while in the crypto.
Look at her. I noticed that you have big followers in the social media space as well. Like, tell us why. Why do these guys that interview these people and not know shit about it? Like, they don't know anything. They just sit down and, oh, yeah. Michael Saylors? Yeah, Mike Saylor. Yeah. Who is he? You gotta ask who he is, and you're on a property CNBC midday show. That's, to me, I'm sorry, that's the epitome of stupidity. Like, you didn't prep for the interview, so you're gonna throw him education on him.
Space. What is it about social media that seems to have fueled crypto, as well as, keeping real estate one step ahead of the game?
I think because crypto is directly connected to technology, social is directly connected to technology, so you just have a lot of experts there in that space.
Did you know that early on that you had to build your social space? Because you have over 1 million followers on Instagram.
And that's been from other things that I've done in the past, being on a few episodes of $1 Million Listing back in the day, speaking in front of audiences and them seeing my social and then
Chick, it didn't come from him knowing crypto and real estate. He had it before.
Following me while I'm speaking. So it's taken a long time to build that. But then when crypto took off, it really did start increasing the following, because now I wasn't speaking to 2,000 real estate agents. Now I'm being brought into international conferences that have 20,000 attendees just in the crypto blockchain space. And that's when it was eye-opening. I was like, wow, this is worldwide.
So you never expected that the social would kind of go hand in hand with the crypto and take the whole real estate venture forward. And you talk in.
She talking a bunch of smack anyway. Like I said, I haven't listened to all of these. I probably listen. I think one of them I listened to, but I mean, it's clear they will feed you anything stupid that will make money for corporations, for these financial services companies. Because if you don't get it and you haven't figured it out, the goal is to get into your pockets, bro. Like, people that are suffering right now during this time of pullback in the market and high inflation and all this other shit, they're dealing with a series of bad fucking decisions that some of these people put out here. Some of them put out here, oh yeah, we want to buy Bitcoin. Oh yeah, we want to store it on this exchange. Oh yeah, we want to park it here and earn off of it. If you take your advice, and God knows, I'm gonna tell you, God knows, I bought shit paid off in real estate. I bought cars paid off. The reality of it is, if you think that the shit that they sell you from debt and all that conversation, that this is the smartest way to do things, you're screwed. You're screwed because you're following the wave of the masses. It's not easy to buy stuff paid off. It's not easy to get in there and to pay some shit off. It's not. Real estate specifically, we always get reasons why, as real estate investors and agents, why we should be using that money to do something else except for making that asset debt free. We always get it. And it's always going to come. And it's going to come because our minds have been trained that we need to hold on to cash, even though cash is the worst thing to actually hold on to. And we don't need to park the money in an asset like land that will appreciate. And when you tell people that, because their hands are so itchy and so tingly to go out and to make, like, to get hold of that money, which I've been there before. I'm not shitting on y'all and telling y'all that it's wrong and all that, because it's normal. You rather go buy a freaking Audi with that money and finance the house. And they've had so many people finance it. That's why I say in 2026, 2 things that you should know. 3 things. That lending, in private lending, if you become one, you will make a shitload of money. Houses, wholesaling, if you can wither the grind, you will make a shitload of money. Okay? And if you go and tap into this Patreon that I have, just go to my description, look for the Patreon. If it's not there, just like, follow, subscribe, because my sister should have put this shit up there. But if it's not there, don't worry about it. Just follow. When I drop it, I'm definitely going to let you guys know. Because in that Patreon, honestly, I'm going to talk about my 18 years in real estate. I'm going to give you every hack that I know that these won't give you. Okay, they won't give it to you, or they're going to charge you they're going to charge you thousands to actually learn it. They're going to charge you thousands to learn it. Thousands. Just to manipulate you and get every freaking dollar that they can. Because most of this information is out there. You're just a little bit uncomfortable in whether you should do it or not do it. And that's understandable. Because when you're inundated with so much information, it's normal that the human mind starts to shut down and not make a decision because it doesn't know, do I go left or right? Okay? Bad information out here. Stay away from that. Please stay far, far away from that shit. Please stay it. Let's go to the next thing. Ah, man, yo, let's talk about these freaking Epstein
This morning, as
files.
new documents raise questions about whether President Trump was aware of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. Trump tight.
I haven't seen this and threw it in rotation, and I'm more than curious about this Epstein setup. Because, and I called it the Epstein setup, and it's not an Epstein setup because it's not a setup. Something's in those damn files. Something's in those files. Something's in there. And even as somebody that voted for Trump, and I can put my Make America Great hat on and all that, yeah, I keep saying, to be a politician and to be in the limelight with this, you have to look at stuff and you can't be bothered by it. You have to have a certain level of shamelessness, or just ignoring the shamelessness, the shamefulness, to be in politics. You can't let the mistake that you went through, like Gavin Newsom sleeping with his best friend's wife, I think it was. Nobody knows about that. Gavin's not sitting up there and be like, yeah, I know I banged my girlfriend's, my best friend's wife back, about 5-10 years ago, but I'm still qualified to be the governor of California. No. He's not even talking about it. And if news people, commentate sites don't remember it, or if they're for him, they're not going to talk about it. They're not going to talk about it. I mean, that's slimy shit. When I found out about it, I said, oh, dang, these guys, he's glossy. But how many other ones? How many other ones? How many other ones? Because we don't have terms that remove these jokers from Congress, from Senate, and from positions as governors. We don't have. God knows we don't have a term. Hold on, no kings. We got a term for that. For the president, but these jokers can stay in Senate for years. Like Nancy Pelosi, run up the bag, 133 million in profit, running up the bag. She ran up the bag. Why? Because nobody's going to put her out of office. She's doing what she has to do for her constituents, and she's playing the political game. And it's a game. Don't get that shit twisted. It is a game. It is a game. And it's chess.
Flipped, refusing to answer questions about why he won't release the Epstein files.
Mr. President, why won't you order the FBI to release the Epstein files?
The newly released messages, part of thousands of documents from the Epstein estate released by the House Oversight Committee, mention Trump repeatedly. Shortly after he launched his presidential campaign in 2015, Epstein told at least one reporter that he had dirt on Trump.
Do you think it's really that serious? Do you really think, if you think it's really that serious, leave a comment. I'm curious. Do you think it's something in there that truly, because I don't know why he would run on the stance of opening the files and never open the files. Like, I don't know. I mean, of course, why not? Because he gets everybody baited and involved in things. Like, that's one, I look at and I'm wondering, why would you play with something like that and put that out there? Now, granted, we haven't seen the files on Martin Luther King, the full files, assassination. We haven't seen the full files on JFK's assassination, and we're still in the first year. And we still haven't seen anything with Epstein that of any quality. I mean, we've seen Candace Owens do some rundowns, and she clearly showed how the time stamp and the missing time in that space, and that wasn't even his freaking what was it, cell. So it's stuff that's there, and I'm curious. I'm so freaking curious. But do you think that Trump really was out there like at the Epstein Island? Do you think so? Leave a comment if you think he was out there on Epstein Island, because I don't know. I mean, why play with it? But then again, you're talking to a guy that got shot at, or shot because it did draw blood, and did not give two fucks about what was happening. Really didn't. I think afterwards, he already saw and pivoted. It's almost like they spoke about it before, for something like that to happen, to double down. And shit, if he doubled down, that's why I say he's the best one in playing the game. And they are smart to actually stay close to this dude. They dumb to turn around and try to go after him, period. Because, and they realize that. They can't go after him, period. They can't do that. He plays the game, and regardless of how much you hate him, he plays it. He knows how to play. But I'm so curious. You think he was in that?
He was willing to share. Writing, quote, "Ask my houseman about Donald almost walking through the door, leaving his nose print on the glass as young women were swimming in the pool. And he was so focused, he walked straight into the door." Epstein then posing the question, "Would you like photos of Donald and girls in bikinis in my kitchen?"
That was done December 3rd. That portion was done. Let's run that back real quick. I'm curious because the last one they showed was in 2015.
Epstein then posing the question, "Would you like photos of Donald and girls in bikinis in my kitchen?"
Okay, so that's 2018. I could see him jockeying for attention right there.
In 2018 text exchange, the context of which is unclear, Epstein wrote to an unidentified person about Trump, "I am the one able to take him down."
An unidentified person is too open. It's just too wide. Unidentified, too wide. How do I even know that it's true? How do I know that it's true? You said it's an unidentified person. How do I know that the unidentified person is lying? He's not lying. I mean, I don't know, or she's not lying. Too wide open.
Trump and Epstein were friends for more than a decade.
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question.
Oh, you see how he shook his head? He said, though I would like to answer that question, he started like this. To me, that's somebody that's baiting for attention right there. They're baiting for attention. Baiting for attention, like, and that's 2010. How is it that he won't answer in 2010, but in 2018, after Trump runs for president in 2016, 17, 18, you're on the tail end of his first presidency, you start talking shit about, oh, would you like me to give you the goods? I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
At least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
After Epstein's arrest in 2019, Trump said he hadn't spoken to him in 15 years. He insists he broke off the friendship when he learned Epstein and his co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell were luring away young female staffers who worked at Mar-a-Lago.
He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again, and I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it.
The White House insists
persona non grata.
He did nothing wrong.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong.
But Democrats aren't convinced.
And they gonna, to me, on the tail end of what happened with the shutdown, they need to find some shit to get a win. So this shit is the shit for the wins. This is the bleed.
Emails that were released today, again, just raise so many more questions.
And now 218 lawmakers, including 4 Republicans, have signed a petition forcing the House to vote to
I wonder who are the 4 Republicans
release
who
the
are
full files. The final signature
the
coming from Congresswoman Adelita Grijalva, sworn in just Wednesday after a 7-week delay.
The timing of the 23,000 emails that were also released right around this time really put an exclamation mark on the need to have this transparency and for all of the files to be out in public.
Now, the speaker says that vote is going to happen next week, and we're likely to see something that we rarely see here in Washington. We are told dozens of Republicans are expected to break with the president and call for the release of these files, something that many Republican voters.
Okay, so we've got Nancy Mace, coming out of South Carolina. She's one. Lauren Boebert, I'm not familiar with her, coming out of Colorado. Thomas Massie, I've heard him already, coming out of Kentucky, lead co-sponsor of the petition. Oh my God. Then we got Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG. Yo, also signed. She wants to know what's in there. Marjorie's been playing, she's been playing some, I don't think she's playing games. If anything, I would say she's probably sitting in that space of truth right now. Like, she understands with immigration that she needs people to run her construction company. So, of course, she's going to be like, hey, you guys are being too hard on the immigrants, on the illegals. Of course, because she runs a $1 million company, right? Construction company. I could see this simply because the promise that was made, again, in the election helps her solidify herself with her constituents. Because I'm pretty sure she thinks, and she knows, they probably did a poll to see if her constituents truly want this to come out. If it even has a level of concern, period. Yeah. Ooh. Pull a full list of the Republicans. Man, see, people don't understand. ChatGPT, Gemini, it's going to be the death of people and it's going to be the life of some of this. Full list. Give me the full list. Give me the full list. I want to know the full list. Total transparency. Nancy May. Okay. If you like, I could check all the Republicans who publicly commented on. Yeah, do that. Yes. I want to know. Check all the Republicans that comment. Because we know the Democrats need a win. So NBC is going to shout this from on high. CNBC, ABC, they're all going to rally and shout this from on high. They're going to keep talking about it because when you get your ass handed to you in that space, you know, Hakeem, you kind of look like you need a win. Like I said, this is about power. This is not about the American people. This is not about the poor people like Zoran running and for free buses and all this other bull BS. It's not about that shit. It's not. Because when you're soft on crime, it doesn't hurt the rich. It hurts the poor and the middle class, the people that voted for him and the people that didn't vote for him. Because don't think the poor people voted for him. 54% of the people coming out of polling were already documented as being 25 to 35 years old, being one. Secondly, having some level of higher education. That should rock your brain. That should rock your brain. Of course, they're living in New York. They can't afford. I keep saying they are the overeducated and the underpaid. That's it. They're the Negroes who don't want to freaking, stop. They're the ones that don't want to turn around and leave New York. They're still entitled to live there. So I'm curious, man.
Have wanted for some time now. But of course, even if it passes in the House, the fate of this is unclear in the Senate, and it seems unlikely that President Trump would sign on to this. Rebecca?
No. If he's anywhere in there, it's gonna come out after his presidency. I think. If you think I'm wrong, go ahead, just make your comment. Tell me if I'm wrong about this. I truly believe we're not going to hear anything of any significance about the Epstein file until all of this is done. Why would we hear about it? Why would he even sign off for it to happen? That's why I go back to say, what was he thinking when he turned around and said he's going to release that file? Maybe he wasn't keeping up. Somebody told him it was a good idea. I'm trying to think, like, why would you say that? Why would you turn around and do that? I don't know. Maybe, hey man, maybe the A students
Kathy
can let
Wood
us know.
says.
Maybe the A students can let us know, because obviously some of us is too dumb. we not as smart as y'all. Some of y'all more intelligent than us, Some of y'all more intelligent than us. And no lie. So intelligent. Look, see, I'm not even on that intelligent. I didn't even set this overlay before this shit started. I just let me make this right here. Because this was the story that I was like, man, I got to talk about this story. I got to talk about this story. This shit is like the first trillionaire. Now, this is Patrick Bet-David, Valuetainment, PBD. I always watch his content. Great content. If you're in the business space and his business planning seminars, great advice, great content to watch. But they get a little bit down deeper into this. And I wanted to share their thoughts. And then, because I started hearing some of this, as this is going to change the world when this happens. And hold on, they say he smoked weed.
Elon Musk's $1 trillion payday will pass decisively, despite opposition from proxy firms. So Kathy Wood, she's from ARK, what is it called? It's called ARK.
ARK Investments?
Yeah, ARK Investments. This is her talking about why Elon's $1 trillion package will pass swiftly. Go ahead, Rob.
When we saw this pay package, we had a similar reaction to the very first time that Elon proposed a pay package. Our expectations were high, and everybody thought we were crazy out there when we put our expectations out there. And in the last package, he accomplished those expectations 2 years.
Okay, so at Kathy Woods, I'll jump in here. Kathy Woods runs ARK Investment. I've invested in that. It's more like a ETF type of mutual fund, where she's betting and leveraging millions, hundreds of millions on Elon's stock actually being successful. Tesla, they're heavy into Tesla. ARK, and I wonder if there's some relationship between Kathy Woods and Elon, not in like no sexual stuff, but she's so bullish on him. I'm wondering what she knows that she doesn't say a lot, because ARK holds a lot of Tesla, SpaceX, like Tesla stock is heavy in. So when you buy ARK, you're buying Tesla stock, but she's been bullish on him even going back 2018, before Tesla split into split twice or three times. When Tesla was at 3K, she was talking like a share, Tesla, up to the run up. And it seems like when she gets involved, the run up happens. When she starts speaking, people trust what she's saying. So we'll see. Let's see what she said.
Earlier than we expected him to. Just to give you a sense, if you take sort of the midpoint of the schedule for EBITDA goals, that would be a 49% compound annual rate of increase in EBITDA. I don't think there are very many companies that have accomplished that. And I'll just conclude by saying this was the first voiding of Elon's pay package. This is what I put on X. I believe the Delaware court decision forcing Tesla to void the March 2018 vote on Elon's performance-based pay package is un-American, an assault on investor rights, and an insult to the board of directors of one of the most stunningly successful companies in the world. And I would add, this is a win-win for all of us if Elon succeeds this time around the way.
You think it's a win-win for all of us? If you're watching this, do you think it's a win-win for all of us? When you comment on this, and tell me if you think Tesla going up, Elon hitting $1 trillion is a win-win for all of us, his pay package. Let's talk about his pay package after this.
That he did the last time around. And I do hope that the appeals court does do the right thing, actually, and reward
So here's a problem.
Elon
I have a problem with this. I'll come to you and I'll give you the problem. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, no, so I mean, I agree with her that that's the right thing to do. But why are we even talking about this before getting him paid out for the other one?
Exactly.
Like that's like the court way overstepping.
Yes.
And you know how many businesses registered in Delaware? 73% of LLCs register in Delaware. So, and the reason that took place in Delaware is because like a small amount of shareholders made a fuss about it, saying that he shouldn't get that much, and they didn't know the terms of the agreement. So that a judge took it on and ruled that. So like one judge could throw off this whole thing. That's like how many people want to do business in Delaware.
Yes, but think about it. If you're Elon Musk, you're like, hey, we're going to give you $1 trillion pay package. Guys, I don't have my previous 2018 one yet.
Yeah.
So why would I get It's like telling somebody, by the way, if you sell this house, we're going to give you an 8% commission. But you haven't paid me on the commission on the last house I sold.
You hear what he said. That's exactly how it is with realtors. How many times do people say, yeah, man, when we do this, then we're going to do that? And then I'm like, hey, hold on. What the heck? What the heck, man? But this pay package, come on, let's go. Come on, let's go.
Where is my enthusiasm for this? Tom, where are you at with this one?
I'll tell you where I'm at with this one. Let's think of this. Let's think of season ticket holders.
Damn.
Season ticket holders want to go enjoy a baseball team. And then the baseball team says, we're going to give Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani two of the top 3 largest contracts ever. So now the season ticket holders say, wait a minute, but the price of hot dogs will go up. And how is that guy worth it? Well, Aaron Judge has got 4 MVPs. He's captain. He won a batting title. Shohei Ohtani has done what Shohei Ohtani has done. And apparently the Dodgers made back his contract on merchandise the first year, $700 million worth of that. So, but all of a sudden, the issue is the proxy advisory board, Pat. The proxy advisory firms are out there saying, we recommend this, we recommend that. And in a certain way, it adds efficiency. But Kathy Wood and others...
Proxy boards, okay, so they make the recommendations for the stock benefits for the CEO and what it would be to drive up the stock, of course, coming from the shareholders. But I'm going to jump in and say this real quick. What is in this pay package, right? $4 trillion. We're not talking about actual cash. We're talking about, of course, stock, awards, no traditional salary. Elon is not the one that does give me $1 trillion in cash. He wants to reinvest it. He wants it back in Tesla. Okay. So $1 trillion. It's structured in 12 trench installments tied to performance goals over roughly 7.5 to 10-year horizon. So we're talking about the next 10 years, right? Tesla market value rising from current levels to about 8.5 trillion by 2035. 8.5 trillion. So wherever Tesla's sitting right now, they want it to be 8.5 trillion to be recognized as being anything. So they making it hard. This is bigger. This is bigger than what it was before. 8.5 trillion. Deploying 1 million robo-taxis. These are self-driving taxis in operation. So within 10 years, Tesla is supposed to have 1 million. In order for him to get this trillion, 1 million robo-taxis. Do you think that's possible? I don't know. By 2025, 2035? Now, keep in mind, there's a company in Texas that has they've already demoed and it's done it successfully in multiple runs, a self-driving truck. They're about to do a run in the next 30 to 60 days. Man, what is the name of this company? I did a video on it. In the next 30 to 60 days of a self-driving truck moving packages, hoeing a load, dragging a load from Austin, I think, to Texas. I mean, Austin to Houston or Dallas, but in Texas. It's coming. So if that's happening now, on the heels of this, what do you think is going to happen in the next 10 years? So could he do 1 million self-driving taxis? That will cripple Uber and Lyft drastically. If it comes. Now, when I say Uber and Lyft, I'm talking about Uber and Lyft drivers drastically, not Uber itself. It would actually increase the profits on Uber because now the liability is dropped. If these things are truly autonomous, like they're saying, the liability drops, right? And even in not in autonomous driving vehicles, I still believe until the insurance industry catches up, it's still going to hit them really hard until they actually catch up. So generating 10 million full self-driving subscriptions on Tesla. So he's got to get 10 million self-driving subscriptions. So that means you got to actually sell cars that people want to subscribe to the self-driving autonomous subscription. You got to increase the car sales, in order to meet the subscriptions that are needed, and then also branch off and create partnerships with, I think it's going to have to be Lyft or Uber, and it may even open the doors for other companies to get in, because now you didn't want to deal with people, right? Driving cars, the liability of it. Now you can go do it without the liability of the people factor. You're just maintaining, almost like those scooters that was a big thing in Atlanta. We had the belt line. We got the belt line scooters. They were just riddled up and down the belt line, and it was nothing to bump into those scooters just lying down there. You're going to have to sell a city. Well, you probably don't have to. Well, you probably may want to, because if we're going to do Uber, we're going to do Lyft. Why not do other city-related vehicles, right? Why not have a trash truck that's autonomous for, though those are more public companies. Yeah, those are more private and public companies. That waste management. I mean, waste management is one. I think it's public, right? Publicly traded. Hey, waste management, let me give you 2 or 3 trucks for you to put on the road. See how you like it. Then after we find out you like it, you're going to order 1,000.
And me say these guys are out biasing the vote. If the board can be sued. Board of directors now can be sued. So if you're on the board or you're a large institutional investor, like Kathy, and you say, hey, we think it's worth it. And she correctly points out, he's 2.4% of the S&P. And if you can find me another CEO that's done the following things. And by the way, people should remember, it's not $1 trillion like in a paycheck. So if Americans see this number and they think, wow, that's a big paycheck, that's a huge paycheck, that's not what it is. This is long-term interest, additional stock, and other things in the company. And so I think that Kathy Wood's doing the right thing here, and she's asking the court. Now you've got these chancery courts that are in there with the proxy firm saying, oh, you can't let it do this. This is unfair. Wait a minute. Season ticket holders don't get to vote.
That's right. But check this out, Rob. If you can pull it back up, what he had to do to get that $1 trillion package, you just had it up a minute ago. Mm-hmm. So the company needs to achieve the valuation of $8.5 trillion, which is 2.5 times higher than the biggest one today. Let's just say NVIDIA is a $4 trillion company, 2.2 times more to get to $8.5 trillion by 2035. That's 8 times the current valuation.
Wow, this is a steep hill to climb.
Would receive new shares that could push his ownership stake significantly to 25%, and other operational milestones are obviously in there, but Tesla's estimate fair market value of the award to be around $87.75 billion today, though the full payout potentially is much higher. Adam, your thoughts?
So let me understand something. In order to reach his incentives, the market cap of Tesla today is almost $1 trillion?
It's $1 trillion. He's got to do 8.5.
Okay. That's an incentive package, if you ask me. I'm just simplifying this. Hey, if you want to know how people make money, you say, I don't need a salary. I don't need you to give me any sort of bonus. Just pay me a percentage of whatever I'm able to generate.
Results and accountability.
What's the number one company with market cap today? Is it NVIDIA? Is it Microsoft?
Yeah,
what
NVIDIA.
is it?
NVIDIA's
$3 trillion bucks? What is it?
4.
Almost 4.
Oh, it's already 4?
Yeah.
I thought we just announced it was 3.
Yo, that was sometimes he just too freaking animated, bro. He's just like too, not just too animated, like you be repeating the same thing over sometimes. Adam, listen, we don't need you to rehash what was already said. We need you to get right to the point a lot of times, Sauce.
A month ago, this NVIDIA. So they wanted, if Tesla becomes $8.5 trillion in 10 years, is that the number one company in the world?
If it gets 8, well, it depends on what everybody else is going to be then. But the reality of it is, you got 10 years to get to $8.5 trillion. We're going to give you $1 trillion.
That's insane. Where was Tesla 10 years ago?
Well, they looked just as crazy last time in 2018 when they gave him the incentive. Then it's like, oh, that's never going to happen, but it did happen, and then they're trying to pull the money away from him now.
So Pat,
Tesla's market cap 10 years ago. Tesla's
your-
market cap 10 years ago
Yeah.
was $31.5 billion. So it's 30x in 10 years.
Wow.
And they're asking him to 8x, and they're going to give him $1 trillion.
Wow. So
and this is the problem. I'm gonna tell you the thing. They're asking for, they want it to 8x. This is a snowball. It's been snowballing. So if it 30x'd over the last 10 years, of course he was signed because the momentum is there. So you can, with that level of momentum that Tesla's already on, oh yeah. I think that knowing that, because I didn't look at the 10-year hold, their 10-year performance, their last 10-year performance. I didn't know it 30x. Just sheer momentum will have him blow out that goal. So the world is going to change in the next 10 years, and we may get into an Uber and a Lyft and be like, the wheel just driving by itself, which autonomous vehicles in Atlanta, we do have a couple of them floating around already by some other companies, but not adopted in no massive way. But
remember when I started saying Elon's going to be a trillionaire in 2 years? I said that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I made a video about it. This guy's going to be a trillionaire in no time. And then there's going to be multiple of these guys out there. Ellison and others will follow suit as well.
Well, keep in mind, he's got like 25 kids, and college is going up 14% a year.
13. Let's have.
Yeah. He do got a bunch of kids, bro. He got a bunch of kids, bro. You got a bunch of kids. Elon got a bunch of kids, man. He got a bunch of kids. So I don't doubt that that's gonna happen. It is probably gonna take place, and when it happens, dude. Hold on, let me tell you guys something. I'm before we even end this show, I'm about to end this stream. Before I end it, please hold on 1 second. Live Free Give Hope is a sweepstakes that's giving away a 1-bedroom, 1-bath in the state of in Atlanta, like in the heart of Atlanta. Beautiful place in a six unit building. This is one of the units, one of the first units that the owner is actually giving out in a sweepstakes. Whether he makes $10 or $10,000, he's still going to give it out. So I would tell you right now, because it's new and people are just nervous with new stuff. They're like, is it really going to happen? Yeah, we live in Atlanta. The hustle, what is it? Not the hustle. It's the scam central. Atlanta is scam central, bro. It is. I mean, there's a lot of scams going on in this city. But yeah, what do you mean? That's another conversation. But at the end of the day, this is legit. I can tell you right now it's legit. The guy is not just an investor for 15, 20 years, but he's got a ton of real estate. And I've never had an investor that I know say, hey, Leon, I want to give this away. Help me. And I decided to help him, becoming an ambassador and sharing it with you guys and teaching and bringing in other ambassadors, because not only is this going to be something that will benefit someone that needs housing, but it opens it up to a new housing model that we don't see a lot. We've seen that we don't see at all. We've seen cars, motorcycles, boats getting sweepstakes out. How many people are doing it for a door? So this is what you're going to get. A 1-bedroom, 1-bath in the city of Atlanta, utilities covered, not just utilities, fully furnished, okay? And then insurance on it. So if you don't live in the city and you don't really want to live there, you can still rent it out and cash flow. It's a $17,500 value. Go to 12monthfreerent.com. You can enter at no cost, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to sweep them, you got 600 times you can enter into this mug, okay? 600 times you can enter in. If you want to really, really get this, go get yourself some merch. Get yourself some bonus merch. Get a t-shirt. Get one of, where's my hat at? Oh my gosh. Get one of these. Get one of these. This is a hat. I think you can get it, I think $15 on there. 15 entries in. Or if you're ham and you want to spend $600 and you're an investor, you see the value. And if you don't, you're dumb. Because I can't do it. I can't, because I'm actually helping them grow it. So I can't do it. So, but I've seen it. I've already did the tour of the place. You can see it at 12monthfreerent.com. Just freaking go there. And when you get there, bro, look, just look. Take a tour of it. Because a beanie like this will get you 15 entries. You can also just do a mail away card, and for every mail away, you can do only one a day. I think you get 25 mail aways if you mail that card on a website. Just go there for the details on the sweepstakes. Because, man, I'm going to tell you, $10,000 or $10 he's giving it away. And when he does it, he's going to do a bunch of poses, and he's going to market the heck out of it. And you may miss that first one. And that second one, you may be thinking is going nowhere. But man, if I know this guy like I know him, okay? No, so it's going to go from here to freaking people all over the country wanting to get in and get. I didn't even know it was this big. Sweepstakes is crazy. But 1 bedroom, 1 bath. The drawing is December the 31st, New Year's Eve. He's going to do the drawing, and he's going to give it away. So it's either you're going to get it or you're not going to get it. Nobody's going to sit back. Nobody's going to be like, hey, you should do this, blah, blah, blah. Because I already know that some people are going to sit back and you guys are going to figure it out. And you probably are going to sit back and be like, man, I wish I would have did that. Yeah, but this is the thing. When it's done, it's done. When it's over, it's over. We got till New Year's Eve for you guys to get in and to get this, man. I'm running this by myself, but it's time for me to get out. Hey guys, like, subscribe, follow for more content. Thank you for jumping on this live stream. If you jumped on a live stream, I'm gonna always tell you, if you want to do great in real estate, it's always going to start by listening to the Father, finding that quiet space to find out exactly what you want to do in the business. And we talk about that even more, getting your mind right. Go to the Patreon, join that Patreon, or even like, follow, subscribe. Next video. Right now, I'm out of here. I'm about to dip.